Hi everyone. Today is the 18th of January 2018 in New Zealand. And I just want to welcome you to my friend's home. And today I want to debunk the myth that women can't and shouldn't think in childbirth. When I gave birth in 1970, and we were using Lamaze or the Bradley method, it was a conscious decision to use skills. When I gave birth again in 1982, instead of skills, people were making birth plans. And a well-known author had started to write about this idea that birth should be a primal experience, that women should let go of their cortical brain and just allow their body to do this experience. When this famous author wrote that originally, I thought to myself, that's nuts. I had some skills when I gave birth in 1970, and I was very, very conscious of every moment of birth. I didn't always say pleasant things inside my mind, but my mind didn't shut off. My body was doing things I seemed to have no control over. It was having a contraction. If I could have controlled labor, I would have said, okay, I'm going to have a contraction in another 30 seconds, that's fine, and the pain level is going to be at 3. Oh, maybe I can cope with 4, and it's going to last for 45 seconds, and I'm going to have 10 minutes in between while I get up and move around a little bit. But we can't control labor, which means that labor is happening to us, and that is the primal experience. But when we ask ourselves not to get into our cortical brain, we are actually saying to ourselves, if you lack skills, then you can't make decisions about how you behave when you're responding to what is very intense sensations. And those sensations are natural, occurring sensations. So it's really important to understand that the Birthing Better skills, or the concept behind our charitable trust common knowledge, is that society needs to be saying to people that this infrequent, powerful experience should be infused with the best skills that you can find and learn and use. That when you yoke your cortical brain to your body, then you intentionally are using skills to do anything. Do you play an instrument? Do you dance? Do you build a house? Do you sew? Do you cook? Do you have sex? All of those things are where we either have skills or we lack skills. Sometimes we can have beginning skills, and if we're smart and clever, we refine them. We watch our children learn. They repeat letters over and over again. They self-correct this all the time. And birth is just a short period of time where you get to self-correct. And women with skills self-correct very, very rapidly. When they forget to use the skills, then they have more difficulty because they get swept along with what they feel out of control about. So when I hear women talk about their births, and they'll say, yeah, I was really instinctive, I just knew the positions to get into, then you have to ask them questions about that a little bit more. Were you using any skills? Oh, yes, I was really focusing on staying open. Well, then you got into positions in which you were open. Oh, yes, I was really focusing on my breathing, to which that wasn't instinctive. You were really focusing. Focusing is another word we use for applying skills. Now, we don't know whether cats or cows or all the other mammals or animals in the world are thinking. We haven't figured that out. For some of us who love animals, we believe that they have emotions and we believe that they think. Not in the same way because they don't have the same cortical capacity that we have, or that whales and dolphins or higher primates have. But the fact is that humans thrive on being skilled. And we have difficulty with self-esteem when we lack skills. So if we put millions and millions of women into birth unskilled, what do you expect will happen? Well, it's happening now. It's been happening for the 45 years I've been involved in birth, since the birth advocates and the midwives sort of joined together and said, we just want people to be able to choose whether they have a home birth or a midwife or this type of medical care or not have that type of medical care. Once the focus was on birth as an event rather than birth as an activity, then the fact is that there was more shame, blame, guilt, disappointment, anger, and regret about the type of birth or what the birth, how it unfolded. But when you send millions and millions of people into birth with skills, then those millions and millions of people that occurred when I first gave birth with Lamaze and Bradley, even those weren't sophisticated skills, they were at least some skills that anybody could use. The fact was that we all birthed consciously. We chose how to birth. In order to choose to breathe in your nose and out your mouth, as Bradley suggested, you have to make that choice, because there are times when the pain is so great that you want to breathe in and out your mouth. When you did the pant blowing, or the, put your chin to the chest and push, that's conscious. Those skills may not be the best skills, but it's conscious. So when this famous author came out and said, women shouldn't think, and you want to not think, then women are trying not to think. But what happens is that the thoughts that come up are the primal thoughts. This is painful. I don't like it. I wish they wouldn't touch me. Shut up. Don't like the smell. All those things still rise up. So we are still thinking. We're just thinking in this very uncontrolled manner. And because we lack skills, we then can't choose to behave and reflect our behavior as coping, managing, dealing with, working through, staying on top of, and staying in control of this dynamic experience. So part of these debunking myths that I'm doing is that we have to change the conversation, and you're part of that conversation. If you talk to a friend who's pregnant and they want to know how they should approach their birth, tell them they need to become skilled, because they are going through an activity that takes time. And any activity, whether it's downhill skiing, whether it's going out pig hunting, whether it's playing drums, or whether it's teaching your children how to skip rope, it takes time, and it takes applying skills and refining those skills. So the best thing that you can do to those people that you love who are pregnant is tell them to become skilled. Now, if they say to you, skills, what are you talking about? Because that's what we find. People go, well, I went to a class and I got a lot of information. Information isn't skills. Information is the what. The skills are the how-to. So if people don't respond to skills, say to them, did you learn skills to drive a car? And they go, yep. And ask them about their hobbies or the things they do. Are you skilled about that? Yes. Well, giving birth an activity you have to do. But my doctor's or midwife's going to take care of me. Yes, they will take care of you, but you have to do the activity. Activity. I thought birth just happened to me. Birth does just happen to you, but you have to do it while it's happening to you. It's an activity, so take skills in with you. I thought it was something that I planned. Well, it is something you planned, but those plans may or may not unfold the way you want. It's still an activity you have to do. You have to do that activity. And that activity, you should feel confident and capable in doing that activity, even if you just learn breathing skills, even if you then learn breathing skills and relaxation skills, even if you just learn breathing skills, relaxation skills to use on the way to the hospital while being prepped and having surgery. Or if you learn breathing, relaxation skills, and position skills that keep you open for your baby, just that. But if you have time from 24 weeks onward, learn skills that prepare your body for birth, because as you know how to create space and be soft and open and mobile in your body, then you use those skills when you feel your baby is stuck or that your labor isn't progressing. So do you understand what we're trying to say? We as humans have this phenomenal brain. We should use it. And our society should expect pregnant families to use it. It's as simple as that. Should women think? Yes, they should not only think, they should problem solve. So that if they have discomfort in some part of their body and they have a skill like breathing that can open and expand that space, they should use that and see if that helps. Their partner should have the skills to be able to see whether their face is relaxed or whether their face is tense, whether they sound relaxed or whether they sound tense. And they should have the skills to know how to help the woman gain control moment to moment. It's as simple as that. So when you read these famous authors who say to you, don't think, get into your primal brain. If you want to do that, go for it. If it worked for you, terrific. But think back on that birth and ask yourself, was I really consciously using skills? If you think that instinct can lead you into fright or flight or fight, that means that instinct can lead you into doing things that aren't necessarily the best. And that's true. And if you think that you can instinctively respond in a wrong manner, that's also true. Because many women who don't like the natural occurring pain and lack skills will get into position to back off the labor and lengthen their labor by hours and hours and hours. Do you think that instinct really is something that can go on for 10 or 12 hours or 24 hours and that you can pay attention at all time? Of course not. And do you think that when you instinctively react to pain that you might not want to just tense up and scream? Of course you will. So instinct is not a way to get through birth. The way to get through birth is become highly skilled for this infrequent thing that you're going to do. If you want to use our Birthing Better skills, you're going to be learning from families who develop these skills. So the resource, the online resource, is your teacher. It's backed up by hundreds of us, thousands of us. All of these skills have been used, and they're used successfully because we consciously choose to. Does every woman use the skills brilliantly? Let me tell you a story about one woman. I have hundreds of stories, but I'll tell you one of them. She was an older woman having her first baby. She was terrified of birth. So the first thing we said to her, it's okay to be scared of birth. Have some skills and just let your mind say, I'm scared, I hate it. She wanted an epidural right away. That's fine. Have an epidural right away. She was only willing to learn the breathing skills and the directed breathing. And she and her husband learned them. They practiced them a little bit while they were doing other things and together. And she went into labor. And she said to me after the birth, she said it was really interesting because, the beginning part of labor wasn't too intense. And so we used this breathing, but I wasn't certain if the breathing was really working. And then the contractions really picked up. And so that first breath cycle, I could breathe in and do the directed breathing and expand inside my pelvis. And she said I could feel it. And I could breathe out and go around the pelvic clock and soften inside my pelvis. And I could feel it. And then I screamed the rest of the contraction. But the next contraction that came, I could breathe in and I could expand inside. And I could feel it. And I could breathe out and soften inside. And I could feel it. And then I screamed for the rest of the contraction. Now, let's tear that apart a little bit. What did people who were with her see? They just saw a screaming woman. So for them, they saw her out of control. What was she telling me? She was telling me that one first breath cycle of every intense contraction, she was in control. She screamed, but she gained that control again. Isn't that just like the most incredibly positive story? That's what she remembered about her birth. She did eventually have an epidural, but as she said, way later than I would have without the skills. That's phenomenal. And then she said to me, when I have my next baby, I probably can use the directed breathing for the next breath cycle in the contraction, but I still might scream. Great. It's okay. Doesn't matter. These skills aren't meant to be perfect. We are meant to perfect them. And we perfect them the best we can at any moment during the birth. So we just want you to know, don't try to get out of your thinking brain in birth. Just respect what's going on in your mind and use skills to cope and manage, to deal with, to work through, to stay on top of, in control. And if you have a partner, another person who you can share these skills with, and they can learn to see and hear those moments when you start to think, oh my God, and help you get back in control, then you are building that family relationship. Okay, so I'm going to get off sooner than 20 minutes. I'll see you again tomorrow. And thank you for spreading the word about birthing better and this Debunking the Myths of Childbirth series. I have put all of the other ones I've done up on YouTube in a playlist, so you can find them, like them, and spread the word about it. And this way together, because Birthing Better and Common Knowledge Trust has always been the broadest collective of people, together we can grow skilled birthing families, families that think it is normal and natural to learn skills in pregnancy, to prepare for the birth of their baby and use those skills to birth their baby. Okay, bye-bye.